You have the floor, ma'am.
Thank you so much. And I think that I want to say thank you to you two, and thank you to the parents for bringing them here today to talk about your activism and your advocacy, right? And I think that I would like you guys, I know I affectionately, and many, many people affectionately call you the Bennett sisters, but I would like for you all to introduce yourself and kind of give us an understanding of how this all got started, right? Where it came from and how it's evolved to where it is today.
Yes, so my name is Brianna Bennett, and I'm Brooke Bennett. We both are 11th graders, and well, I guess I'll talk about Women in Training and how it started. So Women in Training is a nonprofit organization dedicated to providing girls, women, and non-binary youth with feminine hygiene products, dental products, and just regular hygiene products. And we also have this brochure here too. Which also, I mean, a big part of period poverty is knowledge about periods, and so this brochure comes in the bag with everything, and so I guess girls, women, whoever receive these bags can get a little bit more knowledge about that. And Women in Training started, well, it started kind of way back. My mom used to be a teacher, and we would go to her job after our school ended, and we would see that one of the most asked questions was, Ms. Bennett, do you have any feminine hygiene supplies? And I feel like we always have had like this need to do something for the community, but we can never really figure out what we wanted to do. And so when we moved here to Alabama, we kind of just thought back on that, and we also realized that, you know, there's so many community service, I guess, projects or like companies that do that, and but you never really hear about people helping out people who are in need of period supplies and just stuff like that. And so we decided to bring awareness to the situation, and yeah, we started on our 12th birthday, and yes, that's how Women in Training started.
Okay, and now let's get a little detail. So one thing that I know that I do love about Women in Training is that in some instances the word period is even not even said, right? Like people are scared to say something that's naturally happening to our bodies, right? And when you add that fear, there's a fear in being able to go ask, right? And I guess you created a safe space where they could ask you, but then even then that was a fear around that. So what is happening in the schools that you are specifically doing that's helping them with that and being able to, one, be comfortable saying what's happening to their body to someone in a safe space, but also get access? How exactly are they getting access?
Yeah, okay, so part of our initiative with Women in Training is we go into these Title I schools, Montgomery Public Schools, and the surrounding public schools in Alabama who need these products. And we go in and we have workshops with the youth there and talk about what a period is, talk about why a period is not a bad thing and why it's something that we need to talk about and release the stigma around, because the whole stigma around periods came from the patriarchal society, you know, men not wanting to hear about a period or men thinking it's disgusting. But none of us would be here if our mothers did not have periods. It's a very normal part of the body, and it's something that we should not be ashamed of, because as women, it's a natural process. And so, yeah, we just go into these public schools and just educate the girls. We hand out these brochures in the bag that basically have everything to know about the menstrual cycle. And we also ease the fear of, you know, having a period and menstruating by showing the girls, you know, how to use the products, the proper way to use the products, and also how to stay clean and healthy during your menstrual cycle.
And tell me about the bag.
Yes, so, well, at first we kind of, we didn't really know how to do our bag. I feel like it grew over time because at first we were like, yes, like our mission is period poverty, but we also brought up the situation that, hey, if they don't have period products, maybe they don't have, you know, a couple other stuff. And so we added, like toothpaste, toothbrushes, shampoo, conditioner, body wash, loofahs, fuzzy socks, and I really love that Brie actually brought it up to make bracelets that have words on them. So some of them say confident, kind,
worthy. All of them are like just different, and yeah, I love that. I guess like aspect of it, I guess so they just feel comforted, as well as receiving the kids. And then we also have like a little bag so they can put their pads in and walk to the bathroom, so they don't feel like ashamed or whatever. And then also, we have these good sturdy bags. I guess they could just use for anything.
Yeah.
But
It's
yeah.
good branding too.
Yes.
Right? Yeah, that helps. Now tell me about how you're sourcing what's in them.
Yeah, so our funding for the WIT kits come from our fundraisers. Every year we have a mother-daughter brunch annually, and we also have a WIT 5K run annually, and those are our two big fundraisers with Women in Training that help us fund the products for in the bags. But we also have outreach and have grown so big over social media and have been blessed with news networks reaching out, and so we can spread the word about what Women in Training is. And anybody that wants to help source what's in these bags can do so. So we've been very blessed with a good, strong basis of donors donating to Women in Training as well as other organizations.
Now I'm certain that yes, we have the mother-daughter brunch and we have the 5K, but there's virtual options for those as well. So if someone wanted to virtually be on the 5K but still support, they can as well. Might as well get this shameless plug on out while we got the opportunity that there's other ways if they're not local, since we know that as we heard from the committee that they're in Huntsville. So there's other ways that they can by being able to support what goes in this as well as your advocacy inside of these schools, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So think about this. I want you to think about what are 3 things, if you have to say, here are the top 3 things that you as a society, that we as adults, that you maybe if they want to send this to their teen, if their teen may not be able to watch right now. And then let's talk about the politicians too. What are 3 things that we can do, that they can do to enhance your mission?
Yeah, I would say, we work with legislators all the time. We want to get bills passed because, period poverty is a systemic issue, and we want to solve or help alleviate the issue systemically.
Right.
And so to do that, we must, go into the legislator and basically demand that, these girls and women get the products to menstruate healthily.
Right.
And so one big thing that would help our mission so much, and also just help release the stigma around period poverty, is going into the legislator or sending emails to your state representatives saying, hey, this is what Women in Training is. This is the bill that we want to pass to take the pink tax away on period products in Alabama. Men's hygiene products are not taxed, but female hygiene products are. So we want to take away the tax on female hygiene products, and I would love your help to do that for us. And so that's one big thing that anyone can do to help the issue of period poverty, to take away the pink tax and to take away the stigma of period poverty and what a period is.
Yes, and just to add to that a little bit about her talking about bills. So I guess 2 years ago now, we passed a bill into law that gave $200,000 to Title I schools across Alabama. And we really want to just broaden our mission, because $200,000 is not enough to get these period products to schools in Alabama, not even the Title I schools. And so recently we're bringing up a bill to double that to $400,000. So as Bree was saying, you can call, email, send letters to just legislator and kind of just tell them hey, pass this bill, here's why we need it passed. But
Yeah. Another thing I want to say is talking about periods,
Yes.
not trying to use some code word to describe a period so you can be hush hush about it. So we can say the word period, talk about what a period is, so that we don't feel like we have to hide the fact that we're on our period. It shouldn't be some kind of shame. And so I feel like if all of us, took our part in the world in talking about periods, and that would just help alleviate the stigma around periods, because it is not a shameful thing. It's a beautiful thing, and it's healthy. It's a normal bodily process. that all menstruators, everyone who has a uterus has to endure. And so I feel like if everyone talks about periods in a way that uplifts periods, uplifts women for having periods and menstruators for having periods, we can take away the stigma of period poverty altogether.
Okay, so think about when you first started and now. What are 5 things that someone might be out there and they want to start a nonprofit or they have an idea? One thing that I like that you said is that you knew that you wanted to do something, right? You just didn't know what. And then this particular thing stood out for you all. So what was that process? And what would you say were some things that you learned from it, from just this whole, you said, so you started at 12? So we have 5 years in now? And things that you learned that you would do differently, or that was just a good learning experience for you as you evolved year after year.
I'll just start by saying that if there's something that you see wrong, or there's just something in your community that you want to fix, go for it. It's good to just have, we had our parents to help us and start up, and nothing's too small. If you find a way to help, definitely do it, because anything can help, no matter what it is, like beach cleanups, just picking up trash, helping any homeless people, just anything. Nothing is too small.
Adding to that, I do want to say that, it doesn't take, creating a whole organization to make change. I feel like if everyone in the world did their small little part, everyone in their community did their small little part to make their community better, that the world would be a better place and the community would be much better. And so, it doesn't take, passing legislation, it doesn't take creating a nonprofit organization, it just takes, having the value in your heart of community betterment, and also getting people, outreaching with people and saying, hey, I see this issue in my community, can you please help me, fix this issue? And then the thing that I've learned about women in training is it really does take a village, it takes a community. I feel like Brooke and I get so much praise sometimes for women in training, but it is not just us who is making the difference in the community. It's all our donors, it's everyone who's volunteered with us, and it's everyone who supports our mission, everyone who's watching live streams like the one today, everyone who's just willing to learn about what period poverty is and willing to, help make a difference with us. And that's like one thing that I've learned about women in training, is that it doesn't take 2, it doesn't take 4 with, me, Brooke, my mom, and my dad. It takes a whole entire community to be better. And so we're so blessed and grateful for, how many people we've reached out to, how many people who have decided to, get into women in training, volunteer with us, and help us out, be on our board. It's been a very beautiful thing. And so, just any organizations that you see in your community, any, problems that you see in your community that's possible to fix, I would just say go out and do those things, go out and support those organizations. It doesn't take much, it just takes a little bit. And
I guess I'll also add that I guess one thing I also kind of wish I knew, when we started, I was like, our parents always told us, wow, this is like a good thing, we're so proud of you. And so I always thought like, wow, like this is, pretty good, and I'm glad that we have so many supporters to this cause, because like we couldn't do it without them. But it's not to discourage anyone, but it's also, not everybody's going to support you, and that's okay, because as long as you have a big community of supporters, that's okay. Like when we tried to pass our bill, we got emails and letters from people who thought it was gross to be talking about this or putting this out there, and but it's okay for everybody not to support you, because you'll always have a bigger number of supporters. So.
That's a great segue into I think about young people. As said, I'm a professional development trainer, and I talk so much about generations. And when I think about what Gen Z is doing, they say that Gen Z, and maybe Alpha, but Gen Z is going to come out to have the next great leader, right? The generation's idea around being okay with doing things that other people may not be okay with, right? Being able, I think that social media has helped spread things even further and faster than we ever could as we go into next year, being the 60th and the 70th anniversary of the Montgomery bus boycott, right, and the Selma to Montgomery March. When you think about young people, are there any other areas that you think that young people should be advocating for right now that come to mind?
Yeah, I would say that women's rights issues as a whole, as a whole, we're struggling with, women getting the right to do, what they think is right with their own bodies. And so I think youth can take a huge part in, demanding that women deserve their rights over their body, and some man in the legislature, some man in government does not get to, put rules on our body and our freedoms as women. And so I think that's a big thing that youth are and can continue to do to just alleviate the issue and to bring more feminists and to uplift women. And it supports our mission of women in training,
Right.
uplifting women, making women feel their freedom, because we are free and we are equal to men in America. And so I think just youth going out and demanding, women's rights, demanding our freedom over our body, I feel like that can make a very big difference. And the youth these days really are making a big difference on TikTok, Instagram, and also going out and rallying in person too.
You say, yeah,
That's pretty good. I mean, I agree. That's pretty good.
You're like, what shape? I think we liked you. So tell me, as you guys talk about this, I do want to say, because you talk about your mom and your dad, right? Which really goes into, this is not a female issue, right? And so if you have a chance to talk, and we talk about the youth, we want allies, right? We want education for not just the women, but for the men to know and be educated on how this works, right? How does the cycle work? That has everything to do with pregnancy. Like all these pieces that I think belong to both. So if somebody's talking to their teen son, right, I'm sure you can agree or can expand on how it's important for them as well, right? To just not only support, they have a sister, they have a mother, they may have a friend that's a woman or that's a young woman, around allyship, right? And around their abilities to know how important it is to be equally as supportive as the teenagers that are trying to just figure out what the heck's going on in their bodies.
Yes. So I mean, I'll definitely say like this kind of knowledge, just like raising your kids to know this. I know in whether elementary school, middle school, when they always have that talk and separate girls and boys, and I think it's really unnecessary because I mean, both genders should know about it. I think that's why most of them grow up to think it's like something that you shouldn't talk about, because it starts at a very young age where you have to separate them in order to talk to the girls about it. And so, yes, I definitely think that schools should kind of just have both genders when they're having the talks, because that is so important. Yeah, and I think that parents should talk to their like sons and
Yes.
people about when we first started Women in Training. There was a lot of like events where like my dad would be the only guy, and I would say that when we kind of brought in. I mean, now it's been like 5 years, and now like I see like more men like come to our events.
That's awesome.
And yes, I think that is a good thing.
Yeah. My big thing is that, with a society the way it is today, we want to see our women in legislature, we want to see our women as president, as vice president, but the reality of what it is right now is that these men are in powerful positions in government. And so with education to these young boys, when they're at a young age, when they grow up to become state senator or House representative or president, they can grow up with the values of women's rights and, anti-period poverty values, alleviating period poverty, and just being mindful and finding, the female body, the female anatomy, and alleviating the issue of period poverty and the stigma around periods. It can go away with good education from a very young age with boys.
And I think that goes with everything, right?
Yes.
And so I'm glad that you mentioned that, and I did want that to say is that someone might be watching and, they are empowering for themselves, but they may only have sons, or they may only, and I just want to make sure that they know this is not just one issue. This is an issue that we all need to be fully aware of and ready to go. So I appreciate you guys saying that just everyone knows. So tell me, if you had to share a story, right? And thinking about a story of something that's happened that's been the most impactful thing that's happened to you during these 5 years, what would you both say that is?
Well, I mean, I guess not completely just like a story, but I mean, something that I've seen like reoccurring is that when we do our giveaways, like we'll have people, little girls come up to us and just be so thankful for these products. I guess that's when we kind of really started to realize like, wow, this means a lot more than we thought it did, because these little girls would come up and say, wow, thank you so much, like I needed this, thank you. And I see that like all the time. And so, yeah, I guess it's when we really realized that, wow, we actually, this is making a difference. And yeah.
Yeah. For me, it was seeing how Women in Training grew from just donating, big kits to a small organization in Montgomery to growing to where, we've been to the White House talking about women in training with Miss Jill Biden, with Dr. Jill Biden. We have, been all around the country, talking about women in training. We've been to Global Citizen Festival in New York City, on a big stage talking to thousands of people about what women in training and what period poverty is and what we can do to fix that issue. And so for me, it's been how receptive people have been to accepting the idea that, the stigma around periods, that was in the past, in the future and right now we want to, uplift women, uplift menstruators, and do things like alleviate the tax, take away the tax on women's hygiene products. So it's really been a very impactful for me and motivates me to keep going with Women in Training, just seeing the difference that, the mission of this organization is doing and how much outreach we're getting and how many people want to get involved in the cause, how many people think it is a good cause. When you start something at the age of 12, you don't think it's a big deal. I never thought Women in Training would grow to what it is today. And it's been a very big blessing. And I'm only just so excited for it to continue growing and for, I really do see in the future of our lives, periods not being stigmatized. I do see period products not being taxed and women's hygiene products not being taxed. And I'm just really excited that people want to join that journey and see that view with me. So.
Well, I was actually going to ask you about the future of Women in Training and where you see it, but I wanted to make sure and see if someone in the audience, whether it's online or in person, had any questions that they had before I talk about what the future of Women in Training can and will be with two amazing women. Did we have any questions?
How many school systems are you currently distributing to?
We're distributing to Title I schools in Alabama.
So across the whole state?
Yes.
Okay. Wow.
Yes, and not just schools. Sometimes we do like homeless shelter. Whoever reaches out to us and says like, "Hey, like, can you help us out?" We'll go. We'll travel to go help. So yeah, I mean, mainly it's just like kind of whoever kind of calls out to us.
When you're doing presentations in the schools, have you had any backlash from parents
That's a good
saying, you don't need to tell my child this? Because I just wondered how that received.
Well,
Yeah,
we
surprisingly we have.
That is okay. Yeah, that is good to know.
Yeah, I'm their mother.
Yes.
So one thing that principals do is they get permission slips and they get permission from each parent. So the only ones who come to the presentation are the ones whose parents have approved it. So then, so like a good 2/3 would go, and then another third the teacher finds another lesson for them.
Okay.
If they don't want the product, so the menstrual health education, they just don't
Okay.
show up, they don't send their child.
And I like how you said that. So you're speaking to you're sending a message to the principals that says you want to come in. But it sounds like, I'm sure you all wouldn't mind if parents out there were sending messages to the principals to ask you all to come, right? So tell them, how can they do that? What's the system in which that they can know to ask, can you all be involved at their school?
Yeah. All it takes, the process is honestly really easy. Just go to our website, womenintraining.org. You can find all of our, organization information on there. You have my mom's phone number on there, and all it takes is a call or an email to my parents saying, hey, like, can you guys come to our school? Can you, like, put these WIT kids in our school, teach, the students of our school, and we would absolutely love to come to the schools and do menstrual education and hand out WIT kits, so we would love that for sure.
And it sounds like not just schools, right? So what are some other type of places? I heard shelters, other places you have been to deliver WIT kits.
Yes, we've been to after-school programs. We've been to homes for, like shelters for past incarcerated people once they get out of jail. We donate WIT kits to those organizations, and really just any organization that has women and that reaches out, has menstruators and reaches out and needs our help. Doesn't matter what kind of organization you are, like we would love to come in and help.
So that means that, and that you heard what they said, they've been across the country, right? And so we are appreciative of what you're doing right here in Alabama, but we know that your legs are going to be pushed out, your strings are going to be pushed out as far as they can to make sure that this is across the country. And so I don't want anyone to be limited, because it sounds like here, I'm not telling the places y'all about to go, but that especially in the state though, for sure, that if you do have a program with menstruators, if you have a organization, right, that supports women empowerment, there's an opportunity for you to make support this organization, not just financially, but just bringing you all into the fold to ensure that you enter into that city and make your mark like you've been doing locally and across the state so beautifully. We have a question back here.
I noticed just lately I've seen a Tampax commercial. I don't know if you have a relationship with Tampax, but they were very openly talking about your period. And I thought about you all because it seemed like the message that, hey, it's a normal thing, and the woman is asking for a Tampax to the stewardess on an airplane. And even one of the newscasters, he's actually talking about it, and I thought, hey, their message is really getting out, that normalizing things. So I just wanted to make that comment.
That's awesome. I'd love to hear that. As I said, like I feel like we're growing so much. It's not about hearing the name Women in Training, but it's about having the mission of alleviating the stigma around periods, and seeing organizations really take that value in and do things like produce a whole commercial talking about needing a Tampax. That's awesome to know and to hear about. So I really do love that. That's amazing.
Does anyone online, has anyone said anything that they were wanting to hear? Okay, so you did mention, and you guys mentioned a couple times, and you kind of came to it a little bit, but we talk about the future, right? You all are finishing up. Are you seniors? Juniors. Okay, so we get you one more year, right? And what's your future? What does that look like? So what does that look like personally? I know that you're not necessarily saying that you're going to say that you're going to commit to a college right now, but what are you looking at now? What looks like your next steps for you all as young women, but also for the organization?
Yes, so, well, I guess when we are gone to college, we want to go to college, kind of far away, either Florida. I really want to go to California,
Sorry.
But
I left from California, so do it.
Yes, but we definitely want to do as much as we can to keep WIT going. We're just going to still have our board members and our volunteers, but we hope that even in this next year that we have left here in Montgomery, to branch out even to different countries and even to different states that we haven't been to. So just branch out, wherever people need it, and we definitely hope in college that we can do as much as we can to keep it going. But yes, definitely our board members and volunteers, people who donate, just anybody, we hope that they also help us to keep it going as well.
Yeah, one of our more, immediate future goals is, we have a program called the WIT Monarchs, the WIT Leadership Program, where we kind of get a group of girls together and just teach them everything that there is to know about being a girl, about being confident, about, being a menstruator, being a girl, becoming a woman, and then also just help teach them, that there are opportunities outside of Montgomery and opportunities outside of Alabama. We do financial literacy workshops, like everything that there is, that everything that there is that's important for a young girl to know. We kind of, love to teach the WIT leadership program about that. And so back 2 years ago in our freshman year, we took a group of the leadership girls to Washington, D.C. for about a week, and we did, a WIT cake giveaway in Washington, D.C. We toured Howard University in Washington, D.C. And so it's things like that that I want to continue doing. Last year we did go on a big trip with the WIT leadership group, but we just really want to work on, getting the funding and getting, the kind of opportunities together to kind of take the WIT leadership group and expand with that so that they can, see that, there is no limit to where they can go. If they want to go to college in Montgomery, they can go to college in Montgomery. If they want to go to college anywhere in Alabama, they can do that. And if they want to go to college, throughout any state in America, they can do that, and they can also go overseas to do that too. And so that's one of the big goals in my heart that I really want to see happen with WIT is taking WIT and not only we did the Alabama, we did the national, we've been to New York, we've been to DC, and now I want to take women in training throughout the world so that the idea of eliminating the stigma around periods and just help with menstrual periods. It's a whole world issue. I say period poverty is a direct stem from poverty in itself, and so we want to take women in training, go out throughout the whole entire world, and alleviate period poverty and poverty in itself all together. And so I'm really excited about that.
That's awesome. We have a question.
I have a question. You may read it, or you may ask it.
Yes, please. We hear you perfectly.
You hear me? Okay. My question is, you guys are, being young people, we're seeing young people right now at colleges and high schools are apathetic about voting. And as we all know, every issue is a voting issue. You've seen that working through the legislature. And I'm just wondering if you've got any ideas on how you might be able to go into communities across Congressional District 2, which this year has got the opportunity to elect a congressional representative that's, selected by minorities representing people, African Americans. This is such an opportunity, but we really need young people to become more engaged and understanding. Just in general, how civic engagement is so important and how it can change the world. And I'm thinking that you guys seem to be really well positioned to talk to high school students and also college students about the fact that they need to not only show up and vote, but to become engaged.
Yeah.
And it might get them actually turning themselves around where they realize it doesn't take, their voice does count if they go vote, but if they don't vote, their voice won't count at all.
Yeah, I would love for you to reach out to Women in Training so we can, talk more in depth about, what we can specifically do. I know our leadership group would love to go out and, encourage young people to vote. And so, yeah, I would love to work on that issue, try to get people together, try to get youth to vote and to make differences in their community. So,
well, we would love to, yes, the league is working with organizations that are across all the CD2 counties. And so, I'll reach out to your mom and share, we can get you pulled in, because I think you going and visiting and talking to some of these folks would be a really good opportunity for everybody, because it would really help maybe wake some folks up.
I think so
Yes,
too.
definitely.
Yes,
Especially the 18-year-olds that are in high school, right? That they think that it's not their issue. Right, and they think that you can only vote once every 4 years, right? And they don't even know about all the other ways in which legislation works. So it sounds like we might have accidentally, on purpose, added some more work for you. but I think it's a great, to be able to spread the message, and being young not only allows them to understand. It's one thing when you see other people, more seasoned professionals, telling you what you should do. Right? But for someone who can't even vote yet, saying, the moment I get a chance, I'm doing this, right? it ignites a different mindset. I think sometimes we wait until they've graduated, we wait until they get to college, and then we try to explain to them why they should vote all of a sudden, right? And it's like, go press this button and go do this. But think about the dynamics around high schoolers making it almost synonymous with getting a driver's license, right? Is that I'm gonna wait, I get to vote, but not only that, I get to know about issues that affect me, right? And I get to understand that my issues directly can be changed with the vote the moment I turn 18, right? And so I do think.
When I listen to you guys talking, I can hear the passion, I can hear the excitement, and I don't think you need anybody behind you pushing you to get out there and do stuff. And that's the only way this world's gonna change, is if all the young people, start, when something they're passionate about needs to be fixed, they need to be the ones getting out there and fixing it.
Right.
So I really appreciate what you're doing.
It's amazing.
Thank you.
You had one?
I wanted to ask, what is the youngest girl that you actually teach, train, work with? And have you all worked with moms? Because a lot of times the moms are uncomfortable with the conversation themselves, and it just like happens, and it's like, oh yeah, here, get any one of those, So tell us about any experiences you have with people, how
Adult
young,
education.
like even my grandbaby, she's only 6, but it's a real thing, And with moms, I have interest in your experience.
Yes, so I think around the youngest people that we've had in our leadership program are 7th, 8th graders.
Yeah.
Yes,
We were just at the elementary school.
and so as far as like parents, they're welcome to come and like listen to what we have to say to their children. A couple days ago, last week, maybe Thursday, in the morning, I went to go speak to elementary and middle school students. And the parents also came, like the parents who wrote the permission slips. Some of them, they were all welcome to come and hear what we had to say to their children and to them. And so yes, the adults who want to come and listen to whatever we have to say, they're always welcome to do that, whether it's in schools or our leadership program. Yes, we do, because parents may not still know everything, or they may not know how to tell their child about these specific issues. Yes, and so that's why we're here. We want to help with that, and parents are always welcome to come and listen to what we have to say.
Do you have any other questions?
We wanted to say that the youngest girl, remember at New Beginnings, remember how old was the youngest girl who said she was on her period? Y'all remember? She was 6.
Oh, really?
The youngest girl is 6 years old.
Wow.
And she said so, but also the camp leaders at New Beginnings, they said so. That she was, and of course, you could talk about how girls, your experience, how girls feel when they have their first period.
For me, it was embarrassing. Gonna be totally honest, right? I was at school, starting PE,
Same here.
right?
Started school.
Started right in the middle of 7th or 8th grade, and it was by far, and I didn't know, someone told me. So let's add to the embarrassment, right? Of what that was and how that looks, and trying to figure out, and then what I was asking about, it makes me think about the other people who are not menstruating and their level that could be bullying around that, right? Around something that I have no control over, but now it becomes, you don't even know it's an embarrassment until honestly someone tells you to be embarrassed, right? And without that level of education, that's what ends up happening, right? Somebody's laughing, somebody, something's going on, and now you immediately, never want to speak about it again. And I think that very first time of someone having a cycle, getting to them before then, so they're prepared mentally, and we all know there's no true age, right? Like that doesn't necessarily exist, but it's the work that you all are doing and the work that we hope that everyone will continue to support is literally, like you said many times today, there is no stigma, right? Like there is nothing. Someone being on their cycle is a natural thing. It's as natural as using the restroom. It's as natural as anything. So being able to release that and thinking about those first times, and as you're saying with you, that you can remember that you're sitting at school and you
10 years old in the 5th grade.
10 years
forget
old.
it.
Right, and I literally will never forget, right?
You don't forget that.
You know, you don't forget that. And I think that more, and I don't think I've ever told anyone that experience, right? And so there's a whole different generation of we talk about generations and around what was okay to talk about and what isn't. I think that's probably where my mother was coming from, making sure that some of these older generations who are grandparents raising their children, raising their grandchildren, right? That's definitely, I know, when you're looking at boomers and beyond around their comfortability around talking about that, right? And making them feel comfortable that they have a grandchild who may be 10 years old and going through something. I think all these things have adjusted. So we do want to definitely say that I think that no one here online or in person underestimates the power of the work that you all are doing and the support that you all provide for them to do that work. And that we do hope that this continues on, and we hope that we, when I say we, I'm thinking about the Montgomeryans, now that I've been here 20 years, that we can continue to claim fame, and when we see you and we see you on the Today Show or anywhere, and we get to say, yep, Montgomery made, right? We can talk about that, and we're going to claim you after you moved here. You know, we're going to act like you did it off here. But I do think that that's an amazing opportunity, and we are grateful as a city, right, about the efforts that you're putting in, and not only that, the efforts you're creating around the state, which will then lead to Tri-State, which is already done, which leads to both coasts. And according to you, the future and you is international around people receiving these amazing kits. Everything, I heard you say the website, but I want to make sure that we do get that official, here is where you go, here is what you do, here is it. So I want you to, when you talk to them, I want you to talk about not only the website, but the events that you said that you have and how they can get to that, how they can directly donate to you here. And then if you, any other things that are on your site that they may need to navigate so they can support you.
Yes, so our website is womenintraining.org, and on that website you can find our social media, Instagram, Facebook, whatever social media any of y'all use, you can find it there and look at what we're doing. Anytime before an event, like even months before, we'll have like posts saying that, or even on our website, it will just be there. And so, yes, our two biggest fundraisers, again, are our mother-daughter brunch. And also, I do want to clarify with that fundraiser, you don't have to, it doesn't have to be your mother and daughter coming. It could be you by yourself. You can bring a friend. It could be anybody. As long as you show up to support us, it really doesn't matter. That's just really what we kind of targeted because of our leadership group. But really, anybody is welcome and invited. And then our 5K, which we recently kind of updated it to where you don't have to run the 5K. You can walk it, and you can walk a shorter distance.
Or virtual.
Or in your neighborhood.
Yes,
right?
so you do it by yourself, whoever you want to be. And so, yes, those are two biggest fundraisers. And if you go to our website, again, womenintraining.org, you can find all the information there.
Well, I do want to say thank you. If everybody is, no more questions, I see you don't, no more online, and we can go ahead and end this. And I just want to thank you all so much. I want to thank you for coming. I want to thank you for bringing them. I want to thank everyone who is watching or will watch or is going to watch. And then, of course, we ask you to make sure that you